Most people spend their entire lives trying to move into a higher social class. They believe more money means fewer problems. But what if that's completely wrong? What if every social class has its own invisible trap? Today, you'll watch one man's journey from barely surviving to comfortably living, to becoming wealthy. And by the end of this story, you'll know which social class is actually the hardest to live in. Growing up in the working class. Jake Miller grew up in a small blue-collar town outside Columbus, Ohio, where almost everyone worked with their hands. His father spent long hours welding steel at a manufacturing plant, while his mother worked as a cashier at a local grocery store. They weren't poor enough to go hungry, but they were never comfortable enough to stop worrying about money. Every paycheck already had a purpose before it even arrived. The mortgage, groceries, electricity, gas, and insurance always came first, leaving very little for anything else. Still, Jake's parents never complained. They believed that working hard was simply what responsible people did, and they taught Jake that honesty, discipline, and perseverance were worth more than expensive possessions. As Jake got older, he slowly realized his family's life was different from many of his classmates. His friends talked about vacations to Florida, brand new gaming consoles, and expensive birthday gifts, while Jake spent his summers helping his father repair their old pickup truck or mowing neighbors' lawns for extra cash. At the end of every month, he watched his parents quietly sit around the kitchen table with a stack of bills and an old calculator, hoping nothing unexpected would happen. One car repair or medical bill could completely destroy their monthly budget, and that constant uncertainty became a normal part of life. When Jake turned 16, he took his first job as a grocery bagger at the same supermarket where his mother worked. Receiving his first paycheck made him feel proud, but he quickly learned how difficult it was to keep money after taxes and everyday expenses. Instead of spending his earnings on new clothes or gadgets like his friends, he often handed part of his paycheck to his parents without them asking. Seeing the relief on his mother's face meant more than buying anything for himself. For the first time, he understood that earning money wasn't about buying things, it was about helping the people you loved feel secure. That feeling gave him a sense of purpose far greater than anything money could purchase. The biggest lesson came during his senior year of high school, when the factory where his father worked announced major layoffs. For weeks, every family in town waited anxiously to see who would lose their job. Thankfully, his father survived the layoffs, but many of Jake's friends watched their families move away in search of work. That experience changed him forever and made him realize how fragile financial stability could be. Jake learned that money couldn't buy happiness, true friendship, or a loving family, but it could buy something just as valuable: peace of mind. From that day forward, he stopped dreaming about becoming rich. Instead, he promised himself that one day he would build a life where a single paycheck would never determine his family's future. That simple promise became the first step toward climbing every social class in America, entering the middle class. After graduating from community college, Jake landed an entry-level job at a logistics company. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid better than any job he'd ever had. For the first time in his life, he had health insurance, paid vacation, and a steady paycheck that allowed him to save a little every month. Within a few years, promotions and hard work pushed his salary into 6 figures. Jake celebrated by buying his first home, a modest 3-bedroom house in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Holding the keys felt like proof that all his sacrifices had finally paid off. But as his income increased, so did his expenses. A larger mortgage, a newer car, higher insurance payments, vacations, subscriptions, and dining out slowly consumed every raise he received. Without realizing it, Jake had fallen into lifestyle inflation. He was earning more than ever, yet he wasn't building much wealth. Life at the office became stressful too. Promotions brought bigger responsibilities, tighter deadlines, and constant competition with co-workers. Everyone wanted the next raise, the next title, or the corner office. Jake realized that many people earning six figures were still living paycheck to paycheck because their spending had grown as fast as their income. One afternoon, an older co-worker noticed Jake working through lunch and asked a simple question. If you stopped working tomorrow, how long could your money support you? Jake didn't have an answer, and that question stayed in his mind for weeks. Instead of chasing another promotion, Jake began reading books about investing, retirement accounts, and building passive income. He started investing every month into index funds, even if it meant delaying unnecessary purchases. Slowly, his money began working alongside him instead of depending entirely on his paycheck. For the first time, Jake realized that building wealth wasn't about earning more. It was about making every dollar work harder than you did. Becoming wealthy. Over the next 20 years, Jake remained patient and consistent. He continued investing every month, avoided unnecessary debt, and reinvested every dividend he earned. His portfolio grew quietly through market ups and downs, proving that wealth is often built through discipline rather than luck. Eventually, his investments generated enough income to cover all of his monthly expenses. Jake no longer depended on a paycheck to survive. Work became a choice instead of a necessity, and that freedom was worth far more than any luxury car or expensive watch. To Jake's surprise, truly wealthy people didn't always live flashy lives. Many drove reliable cars, avoided unnecessary debt, and valued time more than expensive possessions. They weren't trying to impress strangers. Instead, they focused on protecting their health, spending time with family, and making decisions without financial pressure. Money certainly changed Jake's life. It gave him the freedom to travel, help his parents retire comfortably, support charities he believed in, and never panic over unexpected bills again. Most importantly, it brought him peace of mind, the very thing he had wished for as a child. But money couldn't stop loved ones from growing older. It couldn't buy genuine friendships, repair broken relationships, or create happiness on its own. Jake realized that the richest moments in life were still the simplest ones: family dinners, meaningful conversations, and waking up every morning without fear. Looking back, Jake understood that every social class came with its own challenges. The working class worried about survival. The middle class struggled to maintain their lifestyle. The wealthy focused on protecting their freedom. In the end, the greatest lesson wasn't to become rich, it was to become financially free. Because true wealth isn't measured by how much money you earn, but by how much control you have over your own life. Jake's journey taught him that every social class comes with its own battles. The working class fights to survive, the middle class fights to keep up, and the wealthy fight to protect what they've built. But none of those battles define a person's worth. Real wealth isn't measured by the size of your house, your salary, or your investment portfolio. It's measured by the freedom to spend time with the people you love, the peace of sleeping without financial fear, and the ability to choose how you live each day. Don't chase money, build freedom. Because in the end, freedom is the greatest form of wealth anyone can ever own.